Don't show your face at my wedding. My son says it with a coldness that doesn't match his age, or the boy I remember raising, or the man I hoped he'd grow into. He stands in the doorway of his apartment, framed by the dim hallway lights that flicker like they're struggling to stay alive. His arms are crossed, his jaw tight, and he looks at me the way someone looks at a problem they're tired of dealing with. Before I can even speak, he reaches out, takes the small box I brought, a gift I've kept tucked away for months, and, without a blink, tosses it straight into the trash can beside him. The sound of it hitting the plastic echoes louder than it should, like a note struck inside my chest. He doesn't even check what it is. He just pushes the lid down and steps back, wiping his hands like he's done something necessary. I stand there for a moment, staring at the trash can, feeling the weight of something old and familiar start to settle in my bones. I'm 70 years old, but somehow that single action makes me feel older than any year I've lived. The hallway smells like dust and cold air, and for a moment, all I hear is the hum of the lights overhead and the soft tap of his shoes as he steps farther away from me. I'm not angry. I don't shout. I don't defend myself or question him. I simply inhale slowly, steadying myself with the kind of patience a long life forces you to learn. He turns back one last time, his face stiff and unreadable, and repeats it. Don't show your face at my wedding. Not as a warning. Not as a plea. More like a verdict. Something final. Something already decided. His eyes don't soften, not even for a second. And then he closes the door. Just like that. No explanations, no hesitation. No hint of the boy who used to run to me when he scraped his knees or had nightmares. I stand alone in that hallway, staring at the closed door, and feel a quiet I know too well settle around me. It's the kind of silence that doesn't just fill the room, it fills a person. And then slowly, I do something he would never expect from me in this moment. I smile, a small tired smile. Not out of amusement, or pride, or stubbornness. It's the smile of a man who has lived long enough to know that sometimes life gives you an ending you didn't ask for. But it also gives you choices about what to do with it. I reach into my coat pocket and pull out my old phone. The screen lights up with a soft blue glow, reflecting off the narrow hallway walls. There is one number in there that I've never deleted, even though I hoped I'd never need it. A number linked to a promise made many years ago. A promise of help, of justice, of intervention, reserved only for the moment that truly deserved it. And as much as it hurts to admit it, tonight is that moment. My thumb hovers over the contact, only long enough for me to take one breath. Then I tap it. The line picks up almost immediately, faster than anyone else I know answers a phone. The same deep voice from years back comes through, steady and calm, like time hasn't moved at all on his side. He says my name quietly, as though he somehow already knows why I'm calling. I give him 4 simple words. That's all. No stories. No explanations. No details. He understands everything within seconds. Some people only need tone to know the whole truth. When I hang up, I slide the phone back into my pocket and walk out of the building. The evening air outside is cold and crisp, brushing against my face like a reminder that some things in life can still wake you up when you feel half asleep inside. I stand there for a long moment, watching cars pass, watching people move through their lives with no idea what mine has just shifted into. Then, with slow, steady steps, I walk toward the street where the wedding venue is glowing like a glass lantern. 20 minutes later, I'm standing across from it, a tall building wrapped in soft golden lights, filled with music, laughter, and people dressed for celebration. I'm not inside. I'm not welcome inside. According to my son, I shouldn't even be near it. But I stay where I am, quiet, patient, hands tucked into my pockets, watching the way the wind pushes the decorations hanging outside the glass doors. I don't need to go in. I never planned to. Not after what he said. Because the moment the call was made, everything already began shifting. And inside that building, though no one knows it yet, something is about to interrupt the perfect little ceremony my son thinks will unfold exactly the way he wants. The ceremony comes to a sudden stop, but it doesn't happen with fireworks or shouting. It begins quietly, almost softly, the way a storm starts with a shift in the wind, before anyone realizes the sky is changing. I'm still standing across the street when I notice the first sign. Someone in a black suit hurries toward the entrance, moving with a purpose that doesn't belong in a wedding. He whispers something to the coordinator at the door, and she freezes mid-gesture, her smile draining from her face like someone just pulled the light out of her. She glances inside, then back at the man, then inside again, confusion spreading across her features. I take a slow breath and watch it unfold without stepping forward. I'm just a man on a sidewalk, unnoticed, uninvited, invisible to the crowd celebrating behind the glass. But I know what's moving toward them. I know what I set in motion. And sometimes the smallest decision, a 4-word phone call, carries more weight than 60 years of trying to be the kind of father your child believes they can throw away. Inside, the music fades mid-note. The band stops without finishing the bar. People turn their heads with that same slow, uncertain shift people make when they sense something isn't right. Chairs creak. Dresses whisper. The groom, my son, stands at the altar with the same stiff posture he had earlier when he threw my gift away, still hiding behind the confidence he thinks he's earned. And then he sees them. 2 men in dark suits step through the aisle with a calm, steady pace that doesn't match the panic beginning to ripple through the room. They aren't loud. They aren't threatening. They aren't here to cause chaos. They're simply here because they were asked to be. Because a promise made to me decades ago still means something to someone in a world where my own son thinks promises are trash to be tossed away. The men lean in to whisper to him. I can't hear the words from where I stand, but I know the script. I know exactly what was said. I asked for one thing, one truth to be delivered, one reality to interrupt the fantasy my son built around himself. I didn't ask for revenge. Not in the usual sense. I asked for clarity, for exposure, for truth in a room full of lies built on celebration. My son's face shifts first with confusion, then disbelief, then anger. The bride's smile drops. Guests murmur. The officiant clears his throat, trying to maintain order, but weddings only stay beautiful when secrets stay buried. And tonight, one of those secrets rises to the surface like something dragged up from deep. Dark water. I stay where I am, hands in my pockets, eyes steady. I don't need to be closer. I know exactly what truth he's hearing. Truth about money he claimed he earned on his own. Truth about the debts he swore didn't exist. Truth about the choices he made, trying to impress people who wouldn't care about him if he lost everything tomorrow. Truth he locked away because he didn't want anyone to know the foundation of his brand new life was built on lies. But the men I called, they know everything. Because once, long ago, I helped one of them climb out of a place most men don't escape. And he never forgot what it meant to owe his life to a stranger who asked for nothing in return. Tonight, he is simply returning the favor. Inside the venue, the air shifts. The bride's father stands, demanding answers. Her mother covers her mouth. The guests, once smiling with glasses raised, now lean forward in their chairs like they're watching something unfold on a screen. My son tries to talk his way out of it. Of course he does. He gestures wildly, voice cracking, stepping toward the men like he can erase the truth by sheer force of will. But truth doesn't bend just because someone wants it gone. One of the men hands the bride's father a thin envelope. He opens it. His face drains of color. Whatever he sees, whatever proof is there, it spreads through the room faster than sound. People shift. People gasp. People whisper names and numbers and questions. The bride turns to my son with an expression I've never seen on her before, A blend of shock, betrayal, and something sharper, a realization that the man standing beside her is not who he claimed to be. And my son? He looks around like the world is collapsing. He looks toward the doors, as if expecting someone to save him. Maybe he even expects me to be there, watching. Maybe deep down, he thinks I'll step in the way fathers do, shielding their children, even when they're wrong, even when they've hurt them. He still believes, even now, that I'm the same man he walked all over in that hallway minutes ago. But I'm not. Not tonight. Across the street, the wind pushes against my coat. The sun sinks lower, turning the glass walls into mirrors reflecting everything: backlights, movement, panic, truth. I watch my son stare at the envelope like it's a bomb about to go off. For years he built a life on the belief that consequences were optional. Tonight he learns that every choice a man makes eventually circles back. The efficient tries to regain control. He taps the microphone. He asks people to stay calm. But no one listens. The bride's father points at my son. Her mother shakes her head. The bride steps back, her hands trembling, her bouquet nearly slipping from her fingers. The guests turn on him with a speed that only happens when people realize they celebrated someone they didn't truly know. He looks toward the window. Toward the world outside. Toward me maybe. Even if he can't see me in the shadows. And for the first time in a long time, his confidence cracks. He looks small. He looks young. He looks scared. And he did it all to himself. I take a slow breath and let it fill the quiet space inside me. The one he carved out earlier when he threw my gift away like it meant nothing. I don't take joy in watching him crumble. I don't need to. This isn't revenge fueled by anger. It's consequence born from truth. Inside, the ceremony is officially halted. People stand. Chairs scrape. Voices rise. The music has stopped completely, leaving the room filled with nothing but human noise, confusion, betrayal, questions, and the undeniable weight of everything he tried to hide. He wanted me gone from his wedding. He wanted to erase me. Instead, he erased himself, and as I stand across the street, watching the night swallow the golden glow of the ruined ceremony, I realize something. This isn't the end of the story. Not even close. The real unraveling hasn't begun yet. It starts the moment he walks through those doors and comes outside. And that moment arrives sooner than anyone inside expects. He bursts through the venue doors like he's running from a fire, but the real flames are still burning behind him, in the eyes and whispers of the people he tried so hard to impress. The wind catches the edges of his jacket as he steps outside, looking around with a frantic desperation that strips away every ounce of the confidence he had earlier. The last time I saw him less than an hour ago, he was a man who believed he controlled every piece of his world. Now he looks like someone who just realized the ground under him was never solid to begin with. He scans the sidewalk, searching for someone, maybe anyone who can anchor him. I stay still under the shadow of a tree across the street, not hiding, just watching. He doesn't notice me yet. His mind is too busy drowning in everything that just collapsed around him. His hands keep opening and closing like he's trying to hold on to something that keeps slipping through his fingers, but nothing is there. Nothing ever was. Not the lies he told, not the image he built, not the story he crafted for his bride, her parents, or the guests who now look at him like a stranger. For a long moment, he stands there with his back to the venue, breathing hard, fighting to steady himself. Cars pass. The city keeps moving, unaware of the small universe that just imploded behind those glass walls. He bows his head and presses his palms against his eyes, as if pushing hard enough might turn the world quiet. But it won't, because truth doesn't turn quiet once it's spoken. It echoes. He finally drops his hands and looks up again. This time he sees me. His face tightens, not with anger like earlier, but with something that almost resembles fear. Or maybe realization. Maybe he already knows somewhere deep down that I didn't show up to ruin anything. I showed up because he asked me not to. And some sons don't understand the danger of pushing away the only person who ever stood between them and the consequences waiting to collect. He walks toward me. Slow at first, then faster, until he stops just a few feet away. The streetlight above us flickers, casting him in that strange shifting glow that makes a person's emotions look louder than their words. He opens his mouth, but nothing comes out. Only air, only confusion. Only that silent plea children give a parent when they don't want to admit they need help. How did they? He starts, but his voice cracks in the middle, and he shuts his mouth again, swallowing hard. He looks past me for a moment, as if hoping someone else will appear and give him answers, but the sidewalk is empty except for the two of us. It always comes back to just the two of us. Inside the venue, voices are rising again. Chairs scraping. People moving. The kind of chaos that doesn't stop once it starts. He hears it, and flinches like every sound is a reminder of how quickly his perfect day turned into a public undoing. I don't say anything. Not yet, because sometimes silence is a truth all on its own, and I want him to feel the weight of it. He shifts his stance, takes a shaky breath, and tries again. They said things about debts, deals, records. His breath stutters. Dad, I didn't think they'd... He stops himself before he lies again. It's strange, watching him confront a reality he spent years outrunning. Strange, but necessary. He wipes sweat from his forehead with the back of his hand, glancing toward the doors like he's expecting someone else to rush out after him. I can fix it, he whispers. I need time. And he hesitates on the next word, dragging his gaze up to mine. Help. The word hits the air like a soft crack. He used to ask me for help without thinking. When he was a boy, he came to me for every scraped knee, every broken toy, every fear in the night. But somewhere along the way, he learned to ask everyone except me. Tonight, he finally remembers who he used to come to, but remembering isn't the same as deserving. I look at him, not with anger, not with satisfaction, but with the kind of heaviness only a father can feel when watching his grown child realize that choices have consequences. He's trembling slightly, barely noticeable, but years of raising him taught me to see the smallest things. He looks behind him again. A woman, one of the bridesmaids, steps out of the venue and tries to get his attention. Her face is pale, her eyes wide. She tells him something I can't hear. He stiffens, shoulders rising. He glances back at me, torn between staying and running. When she calls his name again, louder this time, he steps away, then stops like invisible hands are pulling him in two different directions. I take a slow step forward. Not aggressive. Not confrontational. Just enough to let him know I'm not walking away. The movement alone seems to calm him, or maybe it just startles him into focus. His shoulders drop slightly. His breathing slows. What do I do? He asks quietly, his voice barely above the whisper of passing cars. It's strange hearing those words from a man who told me earlier not to show my face. A man who tossed my gift away like it meant nothing. A man who believed he didn't need me until the truth forced him to reconsider everything he thought he knew. I don't answer him. Not fully. Not yet. Because if I speak too soon, he'll lean on me out of panic, not understanding. And panic-based lessons fade fast while truth stays forever. Instead, I ask him a single question. One that wraps around everything happening tonight. Why did you tell me not to come? He freezes, like the question hits him somewhere he's been trying not to feel. His mouth opens, closes, opens again. And then he finally admits what he tried to hide behind anger earlier. I was embarrassed, he whispers. I didn't want you there because I didn't want anyone to know I still needed you. His voice breaks on the last three words, Inside the venue, someone shouts. The bride's father appears at the doorway, scanning for him. There's a storm in that man's eyes, and it's heading straight for my son. He sees it too. His breathing quickens again. I watch him. I watch the fear in his eyes. Not fear of truth. Not fear of consequence. Fear of losing everything he thought he built. Alone, he looks at me like the only thing standing between him and destruction is a man he tried to push out of his life. A man. Who's still standing here anyway? I finally speak. Walk. With me. He doesn't question it. He doesn't argue. He simply follows, like he's slipping back into the footsteps he once trusted without thinking. We walk down the street, away from the venue. Away from the anger inside it. Away from the version of himself he tried to build on lies. He keeps glancing at me. Searching my face for something, guidance. Forgiveness, direction, anything that can anchor him. I don't give him all of it yet. But I give him presence. And sometimes presence is louder than words. After a while, when the venue is far behind us, he slows his steps. The night air settles around us, quieter now, carrying only the distant hum of the city. He stops walking and turns toward me, eyes tired, voice low. Dad. What's going to happen? I look at him, really look at him, and for the first time tonight, I see not the man he pretended to be, but the son I raised. The one who lost his way. The one who doesn't yet understand the size of what's coming. And before I can answer, before I can explain the next steps, my phone buzzes in my pocket. The man I called earlier is calling back, and the real consequences are about to begin. I stood at the back of the grand wedding hall, watching the chaos I had quietly unleashed swirl like a storm through rows of stunned guests. My son, Ethan Miller, a tall 28-year-old white American man with neatly styled sandy blonde hair and a clean-shaven jawline, still wearing his navy blue tailored wedding suit, was frozen on the stage with wide eyes, the microphone trembling in his hand. His fiancée Madeline Hart, a 26-year-old white American woman with long auburn hair, styled in soft waves, and a pearl-stitched wedding gown, clutched the torn sample of the marriage certificate that moments earlier revealed her entire future collapsing. My ex-wife Grace Miller, a 49-year-old white American woman with shoulder-length caramel hair, elegant figure, and a perfectly pressed champagne dress, stood beside them, her face pale as paper, her lips shaking as she realized her carefully polished world had split in half. And I, Daniel Miller, a 55-year-old white, clean-shaved American man with short silver hair, calm blue eyes, and wearing a simple charcoal gray suit, watched them all with a stillness so cold it made the air around me heavier. The old wedding hall, decorated with white lily, silver ribbons, and hanging glass lanterns, no longer felt like a celebration. The whispers were no longer gentle, they were violent, sharp, cutting through the room like broken glass. Ethan's new in-laws, the Hart family, once so smug and smugly confident, were now scrambling to hold on to anything that could keep their reputation from drowning. Joseph Hart, Madeline's father, a 52-year-old white American man with dark blonde hair combed neatly and a clean-shaved executive face, stared at the legal documents in the investigator's hands, with disbelief consuming every inch of him. His wife Lydia Hart, a 50-year-old white American woman with sleek brunette hair and diamond earrings, trembling against her neck, sank into her seat as if her legs could no longer carry the weight of the truth. Meanwhile, the man I had called, the one person who owed me everything, Samuel Drake, a 45-year-old white American private investigator with short-cropped chestnut hair, a clean-shaved face, and sharp, observant gray eyes, continues speaking in a steady, icy tone that made every guest lean forward in dread. His voice echoed across the hall as he revealed lie after lie, hidden debts the Hart family was burying, marriage papers altered to rope Ethan's future into funding their collapsing business, And even secret agreements Grace had signed behind my back, when Ethan was a child, papers that explained the resentment my son grew to carry without ever knowing he was fed lies. Ethan looked at Samuel as if looking at a gun pointed directly at the life he thought he understood. Each revelation stripped him bare, layer by layer, until his shoulders visibly caved under shame. Madeline's hands shook as she grabbed Ethan's arm, tears streaking through her wedding makeup, leaving dark trails down her cheeks. Ethan, I didn't know. I didn't, but even she couldn't finish the sentence, because she knew now that her own father had orchestrated this marriage like a business deal, and she had gone along with it willingly, hoping to marry into money she assumed Ethan would inherit. Ethan slowly stepped away from her, his expression a mix of heartbreak and humiliation. His voice cracked as he whispered, I threw my own father out. For this? For you? For lies? Grace tried to reach Ethan, her voice trembling. Sweetheart, listen, you don't have all the information. Samuel cut her off sharply. Actually, he does. And so do all these people. He raised another set of documents, email printouts, bank transfers, secret meetings, all evidence showing exactly how Grace and the Harts had manipulated Ethan into resenting me for years. The entire hall gasped. Grace's legs buckled, and she grabbed onto a chair for balance, but I didn't move. I simply watched out my son, my grown, proud, arrogant son who once told me, don't show your face at my wedding, and threw my humble gift into a trash can, now looked like a boy who had lost the map to his own life. He searched the room until his eyes landed on me. For the first time in years, there was no anger, no disgust, no resentment, only fear and guilt. His lips trembled as he tried to speak my name, but nothing came out. The silence between us was louder than the crowd. Then suddenly, the groom's best man, Mark Lawson, a 30-year-old white American man with medium brown hair, styled in a fade and a clean-shaved, friendly face, stepped forward. Ethan, what do you want to do? He asked quietly. Ethan swallowed hard, turning slowly toward me, then to the ruined ceremony, then to the torn relationship standing behind him. He lowered the microphone, and with a voice barely holding together, said, Stop the ceremony. All of it. Gasps erupted again. Guests stood. Someone shouted in disbelief. Lydia clutched her chest. Joseph cursed under his breath. Grace covered her mouth with both hands. The wedding planner tried to argue. But sir, everything is scheduled. Ethan cut her off, his voice shaking but louder now. There will be no wedding today. His knees weakened as he stepped off the stage, descending slowly like a man walking down from a scaffold. The world had become too heavy for him, and yet somehow, he kept moving straight toward me. The sound of his polished shoes echoed on the marble floor. Each step felt like a confession. Each breath looked like pain. When he finally reached me, he stood just a few inches away, eyes red, jaw trembling, fighting a war inside his chest. And then, the entire hall fell silent, waiting for what he would say, waiting for what I would do. But I simply kept my calm, unreadable expression, the same expression of the father he had thrown away, the father he had humiliated, the father he believed was beneath him. Ethan opened his mouth as if to speak, but before he could, Samuel placed a hand on my shoulder and whispered, just loud enough for Ethan to hear, It's your move now, Daniel. And the entire wedding watched, breathless, frozen, terrified of what I would do next. For a long moment, Ethan just stood there in front of me as if the world had tilted beneath his feet. His blue eyes, usually so sharp, so full of judgment, were now drowning in guilt and confusion. His clean-shaven jaw trembled, and the soft sandy blonde hair he had styled so perfectly for his wedding was now slightly disturbed. Like the chaos inside him was leaking outward. Behind him, the entire wedding had frozen. The silver lanterns hanging from the ceiling flickered as if the room itself was holding its breath. The white lily placed across the hall, once symbolizing purity and joy, now felt like flowers at a funeral, the funeral of his pride, his illusions, his arrogance. I remained still, calm, silent. My charcoal gray suit never felt heavier. But my heart had already been hardened long before this day. Ethan swallowed, his voice barely forming. Dad, a simple word, one he hadn't called me in years. But it was too late. Before he could speak again, Samuel Drake, the 45-year-old white American investigator with sharp gray eyes and a clean-shaved face, stepped slightly forward and handed me a small black envelope. Thick, heavy, sealed. I had prepared it for months, maybe years. Without realizing, I accepted it calmly. Ethan looked at it with fear. Dad, what is that? I didn't answer him immediately. Instead, I turned my eyes to the stage where Madeline Hart, the elegant auburn-haired bride with mascara-streaked cheeks, was now sitting on the floor in her pearl-white gown, shaking as her father argued in hushed, furious tones with her mother. The Harts were collapsing from the inside. Grace, my ex-wife, the 49-year-old woman with caramel hair and trembling hands, stood frozen, as if she couldn't decide whether to defend herself or disappear. The room wasn't just silent anymore. It felt judgmental, as if every guest had waited years to see this family unmasked. I stepped closer to Ethan, not aggressively, not even coldly, just firmly enough that he couldn't escape what came next. Ethan, I said quietly, do you remember when you were 10 years old? When I attended your school play, even though I had pneumonia? He blinked, confused, caught off guard. Yes, I remember. And when you were 15, and I spent my entire savings to get you that guitar you wanted. He nodded slowly. Dad, why are you bringing this up? And when you were 19, and you failed your first college year because you were lost? Who stayed with you for nights, helping you put your life together? His eyes flooded with tears. You did. Then why, I asked quietly, did you throw me away so easily? He closed his eyes, tears falling freely. I thought you were worthless. I thought you had nothing to offer me. I thought you were a burden. No, I interrupted softly but firmly. You thought I was powerless. He shook. He couldn't deny it. I lifted the black envelope and slowly opened it. Inside were documents, thick legal documents, stamped, signed, notarized. Ethan's voice broke. Dad, what is that? I handed him the papers. His hands trembled violently as he read the top line. Full withdrawal of inheritance rights, property transfer reversal. Beneficiary removal form, Ethan Miller. His entire face collapsed. Dad, no. No, please. He flipped through the pages desperately. Each one confirmed it. Every business, every property, every account, everything he once assumed he would inherit from me, everything he believed was his future, everything he insulted me for, everything he treated me like trash over, was gone, revoked, legally, permanently, and he saw the dates. They had already been processed. Weeks ago. Dad, please don't do this, please. His voice cracked so hard the room echoed with it. Guests watched with wide eyes. Some gasped. Some covered their mouths. Some nodded as if justice was finally being served. I looked at him with calm, steady eyes. You told me not to show my face at your wedding. You called me useless. You threw my gift in a trash can. You believed the lies fed to you by people who only wanted your future, not your heart. Ethan reached for my arm, desperate. No, Dad, I was wrong, please. I'm begging you. I stepped back. Just one step. But it felt like a lifetime. You didn't lose my money today, I said. You lost me a long time ago. He dropped to his knees. A grown, proud, clean-shaven American man in a perfectly tailored wedding suit, now kneeling in the middle of his own destroyed wedding, sobbing like a child. Dad, please, I'm sorry. I'll fix everything. I'll do anything. But revenge, true revenge, is not loud. It is not violent. It is not dramatic. It is silent, unmovable, final. I turned to leave. Samuel walked beside me. The entire hall parted like waves around us. No one dared speak. Just as I reached the exit, Ethan screamed behind me, a scream that carried years of regret. "Dad, please. Don't leave me." I paused, just for a second. But I didn't turn back. My voice was calm, almost gentle. 20 minutes ago, you said I didn't deserve to be in your life. I looked forward again. And now, I'm simply giving you what you wanted. And I walked out of the wedding hall, leaving behind the son who threw me away, and the life I no longer needed. The ceremony came to a sudden stop. But my peace finally began.